What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Got episode number 13 for our Cincinnati Reds franchise. I'm going to start this one off with a little bit different of a twist. We got an all-star game to showcase a lot of our Cincinnati Reds minor leaguers. Nick Longy, first baseman. Dilson Herrera. We've got Kevin Shackelford will be in this game. Jose Garcia actually came into this game. He's a shortstop. You guys know of him. We showcased him in the spring training at the beginning of this series. But I don't have any gameplay for him because he didn't really do much. He had like one at bat and a fly out. Hit it hard though. Hit it hard. Here's another guy we like. Aristides Aquino, right field prospect for the Reds. You got a runner on second base here. That's Quentin Berry, who had that double there. But Aquino's going to hit this ball hard to right field. I like his power. His power is actually really good. It's 67, 65. That'll get the job done. And any major league player would love to have a 67, 65 base type of power to go off of. But I like where he's at. Just got to work on the contact numbers. Chris Rodriguez is a pitcher for the Angels organization. You guys saw his numbers there. I'm actually keeping my eye out for this guy because he's pitching really well in this game and in this season. His fastball sits around 93, 95, and it's got movement onto it. It's a two-seam fastball. His curveball, he can throw for strikes. Nice 12-6 break. I like this guy. Might have to keep our eyes out for Chris Rodriguez, but we can see Dilson Herrera's numbers there up on the screen. He's not having too bad of a season himself, and he's going to get in with perhaps a double. He does have some speed. He's going to round first base, and he's going to round it hard, and center fielder makes the throw in to second. It's just a little bit offline. Does throw it to shortstop, but Dilson Herrera gets in at second base with one down on the inning. So we got 241 batting average for Nick Longy. He's our first baseman. He's actually our lowest rated first baseman in the system. But in this at bat, guys, he's going to come through here with a solid single there. Herrera is going to end up scoring. So Longy gets in with an RBI single, putting the South region up on the board 1-0 here in the second inning. Guys, Nick Longy, like it, love it. Of course, he's trying to make his case for why we shouldn't have drafted a first baseman in Nathaniel Williamson in the last episode. But check it out, guys. Longy's going to end up scoring after this home run here by Alex Jackson. He is the catcher for the South League, or the South region, I believe that is. For all you guys that know a lot more in-depth like minor league baseball stuff, let me know what that is because I was confused by it. But we can see that Chris Rodriguez actually picks up another strikeout here, and then he's going to get another strikeout here on this batter. So he's got 4 strikeouts thus far, and then on an 0-1 count, he's going to get this ground ball here to third, and inning is over. So Chris Rodriguez, again, keeping that momentum going from the season. He's actually pitching really, really good for us. I like it. We could get this W, guys. But Aquino going to hit a rocket shot at third base, but May, the third baseman, makes a diving grab, or K makes a diving grab, makes that strong throw to first. Look at that. I mean, that was a seed. Just a hot shot over there at third, and he just took care of it like it was nothing. So Aquino is out. He's now 0 for 2 on this game. Kevin Shackelford will take the reins over for Chris Rodriguez, and he's just dealing. He is dealing right now against this North team. Strikeout here. 3-2 count yet again, and a ground ball up the middle, and a nice turn up the middle to get the double play, guys. So Jake Elmore grounds out into double play. Shackelford comes on, gets the job done. That's what we like to see. So 3-0 still, and we're in the ending of the third inning. Still only 1 hit for the North. And this game will be won by the South 8-1, and I will show you guys the box score on how everybody did because I'm mostly focused on our Reds minor leaguers and seeing how everything shaped out for them. But Chris Rodriguez pitched 3 innings, 4 strikeouts, had a really good game. Aquino, I believe we'll have to see what he did though on the box score, but you guys can see it here. Nick Longy went 2 for 4 with a triple, an RBI, and 3 runs scored. Dilson Herrera 1 for 5 with a double and a run. So guys, the Reds prospects are picking it up. They were named All-Stars, Southern League All-Stars, so that is a very, very good thing. And Aquino went 1 for 3, so that's not too bad. I think that's it. I saw Garcia up there, but I don't think he did anything. All right, so that's it. So now I'll see you guys in the franchise mode. All right, so pretty fun game to watch, pretty fun game to play. Nick Longy actually had a pretty solid game himself. I like the way that the Reds prospects were represented in this game. Like, it really stuck to me that those guys are actually performing in season, and we got stuff to be excited about. But guys, ended up simulating here up until Atlanta. We're now 12 games under 500. We're 34 and 46. So not doing so hot. So I think what this episode's going to end up doing is, as I promised you guys in the last one, is that episode number 13 is going to be an episode where we actually do a trade, or 2 or 3 or 4 possibly. We'll just have to see how the trade talks work out. But if you guys look here and see the standings, we're 16 games behind the Chicago Cubs. They're 50 and 30 right now. There's no way we're catching them. Now, we're not even catching the Cardinals, right? We're 6 games behind the St. Louis Cardinals, and they're 10 games back from the Cubs. So there's no chance that we're making the playoffs. Might as well just call it in early, right? Trade off the guys that you want to trade off. Call up some of your minor leaguers. Lose games, whatever. Just see what you got, right? I want to know what we got in this minor league system. Are these guys cut out to be Major League Baseball players here down the line? Do they fit into our plan, right? That's what we want to know. And I think it only makes sense. So let's get into some trade talks, guys. And I think you know where I'm going with this. Kevin Quackenbush, David Hernandez, and Homer Bailey are definite guys that we're going to move on from. Just, that's the way it's got to be. It's got to happen. You can't be throwing for 68 innings with a 6 ERA. Everything's stayed consistent since 2015. I feel bad for Homer Bailey just because he's been such a good player for the Reds for so many years in his career since 2007. Well, I mean, not even that, but 2009, I mean, he's pitched well for the Reds, right? But ever since those injuries happened, he's just never been the same player. So it's those 3 guys, and then I want to look at moving Adam Duvall for sure. And I think Duvall is going to end up being the guy that I want to move first. So I'm not really focused on MLB Ready. I could show you guys the offers here, but I've already kind of fielded the offers that I'm really looking at. And a lot of these guys that are being offered up are like 27, 28, 29 years old. Guys that could actually help you win like right now. So I'm not looking at MLB Ready. I'm looking for prospects. And a lot of times these guys will show up and they're like 25, like this guy Paul Fry, 19 years old, DL Hall, Austin Hayes, 22 with a 62 overall. So I mean, this would not be a bad trade, but I'm not looking for outfielders. I'm not looking for third base. I'm looking for starting pitching to help competition, to help force competition on the pitching staff. And then I could move the guys that don't make it to the bullpen, such as like an Amir Garrett or a Brandon Finnegan. Like those guys could end up moving to the bullpen if some of these starting pitchers start pitching really well for us. But I've looked at these trades before I ended up making this video here, and this trade seems like it would work to me. Julian Fernandez and Sean Anderson for the Giants. 23 and 22 years old. That's exactly the kind of age range I'm looking for. I'm not looking for 25-year-olds, 26-year-old prospects. I'm looking for guys that are pretty young. I mean, these guys are 6 to 7 years younger than Adam Duvall, and they're a 66 with a B potential. Like, that's what I want to see. But the only problem with this trade is I feel like I'm not getting enough out of it. I am getting a starting pitcher, getting a relief pitcher that, you know, we don't know a whole lot about. The one thing I did see with these guys is that they throw extremely hard. I think Sean Anderson and Fernandez are in the upper 90s with velocity, but their control is just not there. So they're hard throwers. I just don't think that is effective as a starting pitcher. It's probably more effective as a relief pitcher, but you got to be thrown in there with low leverage situations in order to be effective. Because when you're throwing as hard as you can, you're not going to be the most accurate. So I'm going to rule the Giants off of our trade block. This trade actually really enticed me, but with how Joey Lucchesi is actually pitching in the major leagues this season, it doesn't seem like it would make a whole lot of sense in this franchise. I would love to do this trade because if I was presented with this trade, I think I would do it from the Padres. But then we have to ask ourselves, if we're try to make this real to life, why would a Padres team want Adam Duvall as 29 years old when they know they're not going to be competing in the next few years and giving up all of these young prospects? Like, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I get the reason why they brought Eric Hosmer over because of the leadership thing, but acquiring Adam Duvall doesn't make much sense. So I'm going to rule the Padres out of this trade offer. This trade, probably the best one that we're going to see as far as an overall player comes back to us, is Henry Owens, but he's 25, right? You're probably thinking I'm crazy for not accepting this, but if you guys look at Henry Owens here, and I'm going to have to go back and rework the trade offers here, but if you look at Henry Owens, did I say Orwins? Henry Owens, he's not bad. He's not bad. Peripheral-wise, attribute-wise, he's pretty good. But would the Reds make this trade in real life? I'm not sure they would. In Boston, he didn't show very well. 4.57, 1.37. I guess that's not bad for a rookie. But then in the following season, in 2016, the walks were higher, the strikeouts pretty equal. He's averaging a walk an inning and a strikeout an inning. Like, it didn't really add up for Henry Owens. And he's 25 years old. He's kind of pushing that needle a little bit towards the place I don't really like to go. I want guys that have years to burn for development. And that's really what I'm shooting for. And I think the Reds would shoot for that as well. So there's one other offer that I want you guys to see, and I think this is the offer that I'm going to make. Let's go here. And I'm going to show you guys the offer I want to make, because I don't trade within my own division. That's kind of like my taboo. I'm not looking for... outfielders right now. Taylor Ward is a 71 overall catcher. That would help our catching depth, because right now, guys, it's pretty old. I mean, let's be honest here with Tucker Barnhart and Mesoraco. Stevenson's the youngest guy in there with 21 years old. But other than that, I mean, we're talking about 29, 31. I saw that in there with catching. This trade would make sense, but again, it's a low impact type of trade. I'm not looking for a low impact type of trade. I'm looking for something that can help us grow and move in the right direction. So Taylor Ward, although it would be a smart trade, it would make sense. Like, logically it would make sense. I just don't know if it's the right trade to make. Roberto Baldequin was in our Southern League All-Star game. He actually played pretty well. But I think the trade that I looked at isn't on here right now. They actually changed it. But this is the trade that I want to make. Let's rework this. I'm going to take these guys off. And yeah, let's do this. So this is the guy that I'm targeting. It's Kevin Maitan. 18 years old, shortstop. He can play third base. He's probably widely more considered to be a third baseman. That's what the word on the street is for scouting report. But he was the top international prospect for 2016. He's been called the best international free agent since Miguel Sano from Venezuela. And he's been compared to Miguel Cabrera and Chipper Jones. That's like, wow, right? So he's very, very good. And in 2017 in rookie level ball, he batted .314, and then he finished with a .220 batting average. I'm getting this all from Wikipedia, but regardless. This guy, I remember hearing about him, and I thought, okay, yeah, the Braves and another international prospect, right? But after reading about him, I'm like, this guy might make sense for my Reds franchise, right? I mean, he's shortstop. We got Peraza to work with. He's 23. This guy's 18. He can play third base. Maybe Nick Senzel. Who knows? Who knows what happens with Senzel? He might not turn out. Maybe we could make Senzel a second baseman. There's a whole lot of like options. Maybe Peraza moves to second. I don't know. It's probably way too far down the line to even be thinking about that. But the guy's 18 years old. And look at these numbers. 44, 52 power. He's already got more power than Billy Hamilton. Okay? Like, Kevin Maitan is a very, very good player. Good prospect. He's actually with the Angels because the Braves general manager and the scouting director for the international scouting department for the Braves, they had to resign because of an MLB investigation into violations. So they declared that because of that, all of these guys that were signed internationally could become free agents. Thus, the reason why the Angels have him now. But I like Kevin Maitan. I think he'd fit with the Cincinnati Reds. And let us go now to some pitching prospects. I want to look at some guys here. So, do you guys remember Chris Rodriguez? Yeah, I thought you did, because he's actually the guy that was throwing for the Southern League team in that All-Star game. I love what this guy's got going on. 98 velocity. The control could use a little bit of work, but the stamina's up there at 19 years old, 63 overall. This trade makes sense. And plus, we're dumping salary, right? We're moving on from Adam Duvall. We're moving on from Kevin Quackenbush. He's just not cutting it for us, guys, and I think this trade makes sense. So let's pull the trigger. We're going to acquire Kevin Maitan, former top international prospect, and Chris Rodriguez, a guy who I actually like throwing with. So trade is made. Congrats to the LA Angels, who end up getting Adam Duvall. Looks pretty good in an Angels uniform. But now's the time that we're going to move on from David Hernandez. So David Hernandez, you going bye-bye. So let's suggest some trades here. Let's take a look at what we got. So here's a trade that I want to make, guys. David Hernandez, 10 years older than a guy named Forrest Wall, a center fielder. Pretty fast guy, 77 speed. He's got the contact numbers to be able to hit line drives and do well in that regard, but the power numbers in the vision have got to get better. That can get worked on in the minor leagues. The fielding is pretty good for a minor league center fielder, but I like his potential. Sounds like a good player to me. This is the kind of his scouting report. There unfortunately isn't much to write about here, as Wall dislocated his shoulder on an outfield dive after just 22 games and missed the remainder of the year. It was a tough break, as he'd shown some flashes of improvement in the box early on. He added some bulk and did well to barrel velocity he'd previously struggled to turn on with any authority in his first tour of the California League. Here's a more positive ranking. Wall still shows a knack for making consistent line drive contact from the left side of the plate and using the whole field. Though he didn't manage the strike zone last year as well as he had in the past, he has yet to grow into much power, but his hitting ability, bat speed, and projected strength gains could yield double-digit home run totals after earning 65 of 70 grades on the 20 to 80 scouting scale for his speed in the past. He turned in merely above average running times in 2016 and got caught at a career worst 33%. But with all that being said, guys, he did hit .299 in 98 plate appearances since being moved from second base to center field. And this is the kind of guy that is a project. And, you know, with a relief pitcher like David Hernandez being 32 years old, you're not going to get a whole lot in return. But this would be a guy that I'm interested in, because if we look here and I try to get Tapia, not going to happen. I could get Carrizales, but 23 years old, and a C potential, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I want Forrest Wall. He sounds like he's a pretty solid player. And if we look at the center fielders that we have on the roster, it's not too young. The only real young guy we have is Jose Siri, and he's 61. Faster than Forrest Wall, yes. More power than Forrest Wall. But I like what Forrest Wall can give us in an all-around aspect. Got to work on the defense a little bit in order to catch Siri, but I think this would make for some interesting storyline and as well as some positional battle. So I'm going to just do this trade. I think it makes sense for us. All right, guys, taking a look at what we've got for Homer Bailey here. Not a whole lot. Ronald Bueno, 53 overall, 25 years old. Courtney Hawkins. That would give us some positional depth, especially in the minor league system for Homer Bailey. But, you know, just not a whole lot here. Zach Jackson, 23 years old, 53 overall. That wouldn't be too bad of a move. Danny Young, 54 overall. I'd have to take a look and see what those guys can offer us. Preston Palmeiro is a C with a 50 overall right now. This trade doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't want to trade Homer Bailey for two project guys. Like, it doesn't make sense. And I don't trade within the division. Victor Arano is a 40 overall right now. Have you guys seen him in action this season? He's really good. He's actually on my fantasy team. What? Elaine Garcia, 52, and Cord Sandberg and Alberto Tirado for 52s. I mean, it makes sense. Pedro Fernandez, 53. Jake Newberry, a 52. So it just depends on what these guys have. Like, really, I mean, let's just take a look and see. Let's see, Courtney Hawkins, power hitting guy, 51 and 47. Contact has never really been there. We don't use a DH, and his fielding is not too good for a 24-year-old player, so I'm not too interested in that. And then Bueno, not too bad. He's probably the guy in this trade, but again, probably not something I'm looking forward to making. I know. I'm being picky for Homer Bailey, but let's see what the Blue Jays guys had here. So we got Danny Young and Zach Jackson. So let's see what Zach Jackson's got. 69. Not too interested there. I might just have to take it. Honestly. Danny Young throws a little harder. He's got more control. I like Danny Young. Let's just do this. Boom, boom, boom. Homer Bailey for Danny Young. All right, guys. So with our trades here, we have 21 people on the MLB active list. So we do have to call some people up. It's probably going to be coming from the AAA level, maybe the AA level. We'll just have to see how that shakes out. So I'll be right back and get this done. All right, guys. So fixed up the 40-man roster, fixed up the MLB, AAA, AA, what have you. This is what ended up happening. So catchers stayed the same. Got Stevenson, Mesoraco, Barnhart on the 40-man. Votto, Tommy Joseph. Nothing changed at first base. Dilson Herrera was moved up from AA to AAA because he hit 294 and he was an all-star. So I thought that promotion was worthy. He's going to work with Blandino here at second base. Phil Gosselin is still going to be our backup second baseman to Jeanette. And then we got third base is still the same here. Shortstop saw some changes. Jose Garcia got moved up from AA to AAA. Thought that was well-deserved. That'll give Alfredo Rodriguez still some playing time here with a 293 batting average, but Kevin Maitan is going to start working himself in probably as the starter at the AA shortstop. Let's take a look at the outfield. So Taylor Trammell still going to be stuck in AAA. I thought that was just the smart move. Jesse Winker will take over the left field starting job. Billy Hamilton, nothing changed here in center field. And then we actually called up Aristides Aquino. So 23 years old, 65. It only makes sense to me. We do need some more guys other than Tommy Joseph and Phil Gosselin as guys that can possibly pinch hit. And Aquino, with the power numbers, the guy can that guy can do it all. Plus, he works as a defensive replacement as well with the arm at 84, 62 fielding. It just makes sense. So I do like his right-handed bat, 6'4", 6 feet tall for Schebler with a left-handed bat. Plus, Winker's a lefty. He doesn't switch hit, and Hamilton does. So we got 2 left-handed hitting outfielders with Billy Hamilton being able to switch, and then Aquino is our right-handed big power bat. So makes sense. Now when we look at the pitching staff, so it's still going to remain the same. Castillo, DeSclafani, Garrett, Romano, and Finnegan. And then I called up... No, I didn't call up. I left Vance Worley in AAA, but I did add him to the 40-man roster. Kind of anticipating maybe someone gets hurt here. Maybe we need to call somebody up. So Vance Worley's actually been pitching pretty good down in AAA. He'd be the kind of guy to spot start. Hunter Green, I put him on the 40-man. Chris Rodriguez, put him on the 40-man. I do want to protect these guys moving forward. I don't want anybody here in a Rule 5 type of scenario. I think that they're going to just stay on the 40-man roster from here on out. Relief pitching, called up Zach Weiss, called up Michael Lorenzen, Jared Hughes, called up Austin Bryce. So basically called up 3 relief guys, 25 years old here, 26 years old here, Zach Weiss 25. So we still got some young guys here in on the staff. Jared Hughes is kind of like the wily veteran, so to speak. Actually called up Kevin Shackelford. He'd been pitching really well down in Double-A. And, all this is the fallout of just making those trades that removed people from the 40-man, and now you got to decide where people are going to go. So this is just the way that it worked out. So, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. Like I said before, I will simulate till the 16th, so the All-Star game. And then from there, we can kind of see how your guys' picks did for the MVPs for both leagues, and then the Cy Youngs for both leagues. And then, we'll mix and match. We'll say, hey, do you want to change your pick? If you want to stick with the guy that you had till the end of the season, see how your picks did. It's not a contest. It's just something fun, just to kind of be engaged. But yeah, leave a like if you like this thing, guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And as always, peace.